On this episode of Frick Garage, we're working on a big block. No, not that one. We're going to be working on this one. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! It is beautiful! We reuse head gaskets.
All the PSIs. All of them. All of them. So here's our new toy for the garage. Roommate and I have been saving up for quite some time for this. All we've been doing is our scrap cans. Roommate's been bringing scrap aluminum from job sites. Not stealing it, it's actually scrap. I've been doing all my scrap metal. I've got a pile there I need to take in. And just with all that, we've been saving up. And then Princess Auto had a sale this week, so we went and got one. Which, funny story with that, it's like 8 o'clock at night, I'm just ready to go to bed. And also my roommate goes, "Hey, I went online and the compressors are for sale." And we don't know how many they have. Sometimes they only have one, so we're like, oh, we better get down there before they sell it. So we hopped in the truck and flew down there past my bedtime. And we get there, and there's probably 30 of them lined up. And so I guess we could have waited till the weekend, but it's home. And another funny story with that, I've always been planning to go get the compressor with my little S10. It's lowered. And so the box is only like 18 inches off the ground, but it's full of scrap steel right now. So we took the Avalanche instead, which is lifted slightly, and went to bring it home, and it didn't fit in the garage, so we couldn't take the crane to use or to unload it. So I had to unload it by hand. That was fun. But it's on the ground. Says we need an actual electrician to wire it in if we want to keep our warranty, so partially we want to just say fuck it, partially we want to spend the actual money and get it wired in. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. And I got another scrap run to do here, and with that I'll use that cash to get a whole bunch of fittings for it and line, and then I don't have to use my old compressor anymore.
Which here is the old compressor. It's knocking, it's banging, it barely fills up. If it's slightly cold outside, it doesn't. So, now that I got the new compressor, I'm going to take this apart and just use it as an air tank. And I finally get this record deck going on the dually.
And funny thing about that old compressor is we always joke that it's so old that it was just like made in like 1901. And then we're playing Wolfenstein. That's what it was. We were playing Wolfenstein, which takes place in World War II, and sure enough we find a little compressor in the corner that looks exactly like it. So we can laugh all we want about this little compressor, but you know what? It won World War II. So the reason I'm pulling apart this big block in the dually is when I got the truck, I had never heard it run. And I got it fired up, and problem one, it puked oil everywhere. Problem number two was a metal on metal noise, which to me sounded like the torque converter was not bolted to the flex plate. One was spinning, one was not. I've had that sound before. That's what it sounded like, so I wasn't too worried about it. I was more concerned about the oil puking everywhere. But as I showed in a previous video, the rear main seal popped off, and that's the reason for the oil. But when I pulled it apart, the torque converter was still connected to the flywheel, or flex plate, sorry. And so now I'm trying to figure out what that noise actually was. It wasn't a rod knock, it wasn't a lifter tick. I've heard those before. It sounded more like a clearancing issue. But I'm not finding anything marked up or making a noise. I can spin the crank right now and it doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. It doesn't sound bad. I've looked in the inspection cover, I've looked in the oil pan. So hopefully I can find out what it is, or at least put it back together and it doesn't do it anymore. I'm hoping it was the rear main seal somehow making that noise, which I highly doubt, but stranger things have happened, so who knows. Guess we'll just have to get back together and see, possibly.
Ew, sludgy. Don't see any metal in it though, so everything seems to look good in here. This needs a good cleaning. Have you ever seen a lifter that nice after 271,000 kilometers? On Fricked Garage, we reuse head gaskets. I'm just kidding. I got all sorts of new gaskets for the truck.